Harley Davidson, I've got to ask this question. Why are you not bringing the X350 and the X500 to the United States? Hey guys, if you're not familiar with these bikes, these are flat track roadster aesthetic styled bikes that sell overseas. They're not sold in the United States, they're made in China. But don't let that throw you off. These are phenomenal looking motorcycles that fit the entry level slot perfectly. In the same way that the 300 and 500 Rebel do for Honda, or the 400 Speed or 400 Scrambler do from Triumph. There's absolutely nothing wrong with outsourcing your labor base. I mean, really, what could be more American than that, right? But I guess the point is that it doesn't have to be made in America just to have the Harley Davidson brand on it. I know there's some Harley guys that would love to disagree with that, but the reality is that we live in a global environment and a global economy these days. And if it means that to get a really cool entry-level roadster that, by the way, from an aesthetic point of view, blows everybody else's bike away in the class, to get that bike over here, well, hey, so be it. Because Harley Davidson needs a shot of adrenaline. The sales for the third quarter in 2024 are abysmal. Yet when you look at this class of motorcycle, the sky's the limit in terms of growth. I put it to you like this. Yes, there is a bit of a cult following for the Rebel class of bikes, the 300 and the 500, but the bigger success story here is the Scrambler and the Speed 400. Guys, Triumph sells tens of thousands of these bikes worldwide. In fact, I think it's even like Motorcycle of the Year or something like that. It is incredibly accessible, very inexpensive, decent performance, especially when you consider the cost of these things. I'm telling you, for not much more than the cost of a pit bike, you can have a motorcycle that'll get you from point A to point B pretty comfortably and without a lot of muss or fuss when it comes to maintenance. That's all it's got to be. And that's exactly what these X350 and the X500 motorcycles, it's exactly what they offer. So if they did bring this bike over, they would immediately have a youthful motorcycle in their showrooms. Again, something Harley Davidson desperately needs. And it would start to remove some of that stodginess and some of that old man stank that Harley Davidson has. And they need to start attracting younger buyers. And one of the things that I found a bit ironic is that with as many Motorcycle Safety Foundation classes that you'll find being taught in Harley Davidson parking lots, they don't offer up a motorcycle for that new Motorcycle Safety Foundation graduate to go buy. These guys are buying the Rebel 300 that they're riding around on as their MSF bike, or they're going and picking up one of the 400 Scramblers or motorcycles like that from other manufacturers. You get where I'm going with this. Harley Davidson just doesn't have an offering, but they do if they would just bring that bike over to the States. I would love to hear somebody give me a good enough reason why they shouldn't. And I don't want to hear that, well, it's made overseas or it's not a real Harley. Because I can tell you, as somebody who is not really a Harley guy, walking into a Harley Davidson dealership, it can be a little bit intimidating. I mean, these guys are all about America and these big burly bikes that cost a fortune and that you've got to be seasoned well enough in terms of experience to be able to handle one of these things. Not to mention seasoned well enough to be able to afford one of these things. Harley Davidson's got a little bit of that air about them, and what they need is to clear the room of that stink. I think a bike like this really would fill that void and would start to bring in the youth market to get them associating the brand with fun, associating the brand with their own youth and their own journey as motorcyclists. As it stands right now, Harley Davidson's letting that slide. They're going to other manufacturers. And the odd thing about motorcycling is that when you start with a particular brand, you typically stay with that brand for a long time. Brand loyalty is a real major thing when it comes to motorcycles. Harley Davidson's been playing on that for a better part of 100 years. So you'd think that they would have a grasp on this. And they used to with the Sportster Iron 883 and 1200 from back in the day. They're sport roadsters, if you will. But again, those bikes don't exist anymore. Been replaced by motorcycles that, well, again, you would be forgiven if you didn't realize that they were Harleys going down the road. But I'd love to hear from you. Should Harley bring the X350 and the X500 to the States? If you're new to motorcycling, would you be interested in one of these bikes? Or if you've got somebody that's young in your family and you wanted to get them started in bikes, would you maybe take them to a Harley dealership to take a look at these as an option before you took them to a Honda dealership or a Triumph dealership? Let me know what you think about this thing. We'll catch you on the next one.